If you've ever explored your medicine cabinet and discovered a small container of transparent gel-like substance called Vaseline, you might have applied it for chapped lips, dry elbows, or perhaps even to maintain a new tattoo's moisture. But what is Vaseline actually? Where does it originate? And how is this semi-solid balm genuinely manufactured? Most of us have encountered it somewhere in our homes, but few of us understand how it's produced or even what comprises it. So, let's explore this and examine what's beneath the shiny lid right here on Stories Behind Everything. Let's begin at the very start. Vaseline fundamentally is manufactured from petroleum jelly, a derivative of oil drilling operations. It all traces back to the mid-1800s when oil drilling was still developing. In 1859, laborers at Pennsylvania oil fields observed a viscous substance accumulating on their drilling equipment. They named it rod wax. It would clog up the machinery, and initially it was merely an annoyance. But some laborers began applying this rod wax to cuts and burns, asserting it helped them recover more quickly. That captured the interest of a young chemist named Robert Chesebrough. Intrigued by this crude residue, Chesebrough decided to refine it, and ultimately branded his purified version as Vaseline. The name itself is a combination of the German word for water, Wasser, and the Greek word for oil, eleon. Chesebrough's Vaseline was launched in 1872, and it was promoted not merely as a healing balm, but as a type of miracle substance for skincare, lubrication, and household applications. Over time, it became a staple worldwide, but to comprehend how Vaseline is manufactured, we need to examine how crude oil is converted into something you can safely apply on your skin. Now, here's the remarkable part. Vaseline originates as crude oil, the thick, dark, pungent material that emerges from the ground. Crude oil is a complex mixture of hydrocarbons, and once it's extracted, it undergoes a refining procedure. This involves heating the oil in massive distillation towers where different components separate based on their boiling temperatures. The lighter fractions become gasoline, kerosene, and jet fuel. The heavier, waxier remainders, those are the portions that ultimately become petroleum jelly. But don't be concerned, we're not applying raw crude on our lips. This waxy residue experiences a rigorous purification procedure. It's filtered, distilled again, and decolorized to eliminate any harmful substances, odors, or contaminants. The outcome is a clear, odorless substance that's safe for topical application and approved by medical agencies globally. This base is what manufacturers designate as white petroleum jelly, and it's the fundamental building block of Vaseline. So, how do they transform something so industrial and convert it into a clean, skin-safe product? The transformation relies on several steps of extreme refinement. One method utilized is called vacuum distillation, which involves heating the petroleum under reduced pressure to evaporate unwanted compounds at lower temperatures. This prevents breaking down the jelly's molecular structure. The material is then filtered through layers of bleaching clay or activated carbon, which help to remove color and trace contaminants. At this stage, the jelly is transparent or milky white and completely odorless. But the procedure doesn't conclude there. To satisfy health and safety requirements, the jelly is tested for purity, particularly if it's going to be utilized in cosmetics or medical products. This includes screening for polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAHs, which are potentially carcinogenic and must be minimized to trace amounts or eliminated entirely. Only after passing this gauntlet of testing does the petroleum jelly get approved for the subsequent phase, transforming it into the Vaseline we know and recognize. Once purified, the petroleum jelly is transferred into large mixing vessels. Here, other optional ingredients may be introduced, like fragrances for scented varieties or vitamins for cosmetic blends. For the classic Vaseline you discover in most drugstores, though, it's usually just the pure jelly, unaltered. At this stage, the substance is still warm and somewhat fluid, which makes it easier to manage. It's then dispensed into sterilized containers, those familiar tubs or tubes, while it's still soft. As it cools, it solidifies into that semi-solid gel form we all recognize. Vaseline doesn't spoil or become rancid because it's inert, meaning it doesn't react easily with other substances. That's one of the explanations it has such an extended shelf life. After the packaging stage, the containers are sealed, labeled, boxed, and shipped all over the globe. From oil fields to factory floors to your bathroom shelf, it's quite the journey for something so straightforward. One of the primary questions people have is, why does Vaseline function so effectively on dry or damaged skin? The answer resides in its occlusive properties. Vaseline doesn't actually hydrate your skin. It creates a protective barrier that locks in the moisture already present. Think of it as sealing a leaky container. By preventing water from escaping through the skin, Vaseline helps keep things soft, supple, and protected, especially in harsh climates. This barrier also keeps out irritants and bacteria, which is why it's frequently used on minor wounds and scrapes. Despite its oil-based origin, Vaseline is non-comedogenic, which means it won't clog pores for most individuals. It's been utilized in everything from baby care to long-distance marathons to beauty routines. In fact, many makeup artists use a thin layer of Vaseline to create a dewy glow or to tame eyebrows. So, there you have it. Vaseline, a product that originates as a sticky derivative from the depths of the earth, goes through an intense refining journey to become one of the most trusted skincare staples in the world. It's one of those rare things that stood the test of time, not because it's fancy or trendy, but because it simply functions. Whether you use it to soothe cracked heels, protect your lips, or rescue dry winter hands, you're using something with over 150 years of history behind it. The next time you dip your fingers into that smooth, transparent jelly, you'll know exactly how it arrived there. From oil rigs to refinery towers to the little jar by your sink. And that's Vaseline, another simple thing with a not-so-simple backstory. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you proper recognition for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this exploration through stories behind everything. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories discovered through the smallest details.